What you eat every day is shaped by more than personal choice. It is shaped by geography, by history, by economics, by what your government built or failed to build. And in some parts of the world, the combination of all those forces has created health crises that entire nations are still trying to understand and reverse. Nauru. Start with a place most people cannot find on a map. Nauru, a tiny island nation in the Pacific Ocean. Population of roughly 10,000 people, and one of the highest obesity rates recorded anywhere on Earth. To understand why, you need to understand what happened to the land. For decades, Nauru's economy ran almost entirely on phosphate mining. The island was excavated from the inside out, stripped of its natural resources in exchange for short-term wealth. What was left when the boom ended was a landscape so damaged that almost nothing could grow on it. Arable land, the kind of soil that sustains a population with fresh food, was largely destroyed. With no capacity to produce its own food at scale, Nauru became almost entirely dependent on imports. And the imports that arrived were not fresh vegetables or lean proteins. They were canned goods, processed meats, sugary drinks, spam, corned beef, instant noodles, white rice. A typical meal on the island might be spam with white rice or corned beef with instant noodles. High in sodium, high in processed fats, low in the nutrients a body needs to function well over time. The result is a public health crisis that the island did not fully choose. It inherited it from colonial economics, from environmental destruction, from a global food system that filled the gap left behind with the cheapest, most shelf-stable products available. Scotland. Scotland is a country of extraordinary natural beauty, mountains, lochs, coastline, and a diet that has, for decades, attracted genuine concern from health professionals. Scottish cuisine has a reputation for being high in calories, salt, saturated fats, and sugar. Takeaway culture is deeply embedded in urban life. Chip shops, known locally as chippies, are a fixture of almost every high street. And the deep-fried Mars bar, often dismissed internationally as a novelty, is a real product that real people order regularly in certain parts of the country. Scotland has persistently high levels of obesity. Heart disease has historically been a leading cause of death. And despite genuine public health efforts over the years, including minimum unit pricing for alcohol introduced as a world-first policy, the underlying diet culture in many communities has proven stubborn to change. Part of this is economic. In areas of significant deprivation, calorie-dense, heavily processed, and fried food is often cheaper and more accessible than fresh produce. Food deserts, areas with little or no access to affordable, nutritious food, are a documented reality in parts of Scottish urban life. Hungary, a country with one of Central Europe's most distinctive culinary traditions and one of its most calorie-intensive ones. Hungarian cooking relies heavily on fat. Historically, lard was the cooking fat of choice, and it remains present in traditional recipes in ways that have largely disappeared from the cuisine of neighboring countries. Dishes are rich, filling, and deeply satisfying in the way that food designed for physical labor in cold climates tends to be. One dish that captures the spirit of Hungarian street food is langos, deep-fried dough, typically topped with sour cream and cheese. It is delicious. It is iconic, and it is extraordinarily calorie-dense. Hungary has persistently high rates of cardiovascular disease and diet-related illness. The traditional diet, combined with relatively high alcohol consumption and smoking rates compared to the European average, creates a health profile that Hungarian authorities have been working to shift with mixed results. Latvia. Move now to the Baltic. To Latvia, a country with a proud culinary tradition and a serious public health challenge hiding inside it. Latvian cuisine is built around what the land and climate produce: potatoes, rye bread, fatty meats, smoked fish, and generous amounts of dairy. These are foods that sustain generations of people through long, cold winters, calorie-dense by design, filling by necessity. But the challenge is not just the food. Latvia consistently ranks among the countries with the highest alcohol consumption rates in the world. Reported figures suggest somewhere in the range of 12 to 15 liters of pure alcohol per person per year, a figure that, when sustained over time, dramatically increases risks of liver disease, cardiovascular problems, and a range of other serious conditions. Alcohol is woven into social life, celebration, and in some communities, into daily routine in ways that have proven very difficult to shift through public health campaigns alone. Mexico. Now to a country that holds a distinction that surprises many people when they first hear it. Mexico drinks more Coca-Cola per capita than almost anywhere else in the world. In some regions, particularly in the southern state of Chiapas, soda has become so embedded in daily life and local culture that it is reportedly cheaper and more accessible than clean drinking water in certain communities. Coca-Cola is not just a beverage in these areas. It has become a fixture of religious ceremonies, social gatherings, and everyday meals. The consequences are stark. Mexico has some of the highest rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes in the world. Combination of sugary drinks consumed in enormous quantities, alongside a diet that in many regions includes fried snacks and calorie-dense street food, has created a public health emergency that the government has been attempting to address for years. Mexico introduced a sugar tax on soft drinks in 2014, one of the first countries in the world to do so. Studies reported early signs of reduced consumption, but changing a habit that is this deeply embedded in daily life, culture, and economic reality is a generational challenge. Kuwait. In Kuwait, the obesity challenge has reached a scale that has made one particular medical procedure remarkably common: bariatric surgery. Procedures designed to reduce the size of the stomach and help manage extreme obesity is performed at significantly higher rates in Kuwait than in most countries. It has become, in some contexts, a standard tool in the public health response to a crisis that diet and lifestyle change alone have not been sufficient to address. Kuwait has very high obesity rates, driven by a combination of factors: a heavily urbanized, car-dependent lifestyle, a hot climate that discourages outdoor activity for much of the year, and a food environment dominated by fast food chains and calorie-dense meals. Significant oil wealth has reduced the economic pressure to work physically demanding jobs, and the infrastructure of daily life, from shopping malls to office culture, is not built around movement.